class with your social teacher Lakshna. Are you all ready, children? Yes, so let's start the class. Children, what do you mostly use in your daily life? Yes, we use mostly the pencils, pens, eraser, scale. Yes, and what are the things which you find mostly in your house? The wooden doors, the furniture, the railings of iron. Yes, you find all these things in your home. So what do you think about all these things? Do you get it directly? No. We get all these from the factories and the industries. And how this pencil, this scale, these rubbers, everything, these erasers are made, children? They are made in the, manufactured in the industries. Yes. So, what is the thing that they use to manufacture it is a raw material. If they have to make the rubber, if they have to make an eraser, they have to get the material from the trees. If they have to make the doors, windows, what we have to do, children? We have to get the wood from the trees. So where do we get this hardwood trees, children? From the forest. Yes. And not only that, when you go to school, you go on a two-wheeler or a car. Otherwise, you will be hiring an auto. Yes. So how do these vehicles run, children? With the petrol. Yes. So this petrol, it is also a resource of the nature. Yes, petrol is known as mineral. Yes, children. And all the wooden things like the furniture, the door, everything, they are made out of the wood. And this wood we get from the trees in the forest. Yes. So, forest, these minerals, are they created by the humans, children? No, they are provided to us by the nature. They are provided to us by the nature. So we call them as natural resources. Yes. So here, as I said about the forest, what do we imagine immediately when we think of a forest? The wild animals. Yes. So today our lesson is our natural resources, minerals, forest and wildlife. Our natural resources, minerals, forest and wildlife. So children, here we have learned that the natural resources are the resources that are made available to us by the nature. Yes. And these natural resources, the examples of these natural resources are air, water, sunlight, land, plants, animals, minerals, and so on. Yes. So these natural resources are again divided into two types: renewable, non-renewable. The renewable resources are those which can be repeatedly used and replenished by the nature. Replenished means again made available by the nature, like the air, water, plants, animals, all these things. They are never ending sources. Coming to the non-renewable resources. The non-renewable resources, they take long time to prepare themselves again. It takes long time to form again. If we use them repeatedly, if we use the natural resources like the non-renewable resources repeatedly, they get exhausted and it takes so many millions of years to form again, like the petroleum, the coal. So these are all the minerals, children. So today in our topic, we are going to learn about the mineral resources of India. India is a country which is rich in natural resources like minerals. Yes, and India has the world's fifth largest reserves of coal. World's fifth. India has the world's fifth largest reserves of coal. And we find these coal deposits mostly in the Damodar Valley in Bengal, Jharkhand region. We find it mostly in the Damodar Valley of Bengal, Jharkhand region. And even we find this coal producing centers in Girit and Raniganj. In Girit and Raniganj are the coal producing centers. Even we find lignite coal. It is a kind of coal which we find in the state of Tamil Nadu. India also has the rich deposits of iron. Iron, mostly we use children in most of the items and most of the things which we see around us in our school, at our home. They are mostly made of iron. And India has rich deposits of iron. Mostly we find these iron deposits in Odisha and Jharkhand. There are other states where the iron deposits are found, like Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. And most of the India's iron ore is exported to Japan. Most of the India's iron is exported to Japan. Children, there are many kinds of minerals in our country, like iron, coal, bauxite, chromite, copper, gypsum, gold, diamond, petroleum and natural gas. Children, we know petroleum. Mostly we use the petrol for running our vehicles. Yes, even the LPG gas, the liquefied petroleum gas, we use mostly for the cooking purposes. The cylinders which we use, they are filled with the gas, which is a liquefied petroleum gas, which we use for cooking the food. Yes, children. And coming to the copper, most of the electrical items which are prepared, electrical gadgets, mostly the copper is used in it. And even copper vessels are also used because it is very good to take water in the copper vessels. Yes. So children, India has a variety of mineral deposits in the country. Coming to the next one, which is forest. Children, forest is also a natural resource. It is provided to us by the nature. And this forest is home for many plants. Yes, and trees which provide the oxygen to us, which help us in breathing because we take in oxygen. And not only that, it even provides us with food. Yes, the plants, they provide us with food, timber, everything. Yes or no, children? So forest is a natural resource, and we find mostly these forests in India in those regions which are at a high altitude and receive high rainfall, which are at a high altitude and they receive the high rainfall. And children, forests, they prevent the soil erosion, as in the forest there are many number of trees, and the roots of these trees hold the soil together. They prevent soil erosion. And what is the soil erosion, children? Carrying away of the topmost layer of the soil by wind or water. Yes, it is known as soil erosion. The carrying away of the topmost layer of the soil by wind and water by its force, it is known as soil erosion. If there are more number of trees, they will hold the roots of the trees hold the soil together and they prevent the soil erosion. So in India we have a different climatic regions. Like India has different types of climate in different regions depending on the physical features. Yes, so depending upon the climatic variations, the natural vegetation of India has been divided into 5 categories. It has been divided into 5 categories. We find the largest forest cover in our India in the state of Madhya Pradesh. We find the largest forest cover in our country in the state of Madhya Pradesh, and there are other states where we have the large areas under the forest like the states of Odisha, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka. So children, just now as I have said, depending upon the climate, depending upon the weather conditions, the natural vegetation of India has been divided into 5. And let us see what are those 5 different forests. Rainforest or tropical evergreen forest, deciduous forest, mangrove forest, desert vegetation and mountain forest. Once again children, rainforest or tropical evergreen forest, deciduous forest, mangrove forest, desert vegetation and mountain forest. So first we will learn about the rainforest or the tropical evergreen forest. We find this tropical evergreen forest in those regions where there is heavy rainfall and the regions which lie near to the equator. Here in this forest, the trees grow very tall and they have broad leaves. They have broad leaves, and throughout the year the forest is green in color because not all the trees shed their leaves at a time. They shed their leaves at different times in the year. That is the reason why always the forest looks green. It is evergreen throughout the year. We find the hardwood and durable wood trees like mahogany, ebony, rosewood in this tropical evergreen forest. We find the hardwood trees like mahogany, ebony and rosewood in this forest, and here in this type of forest, a tropical evergreen forest, we find in the state of Kerala, the northeastern states and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You know children, the northeastern states, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, Tripura. These are all the northeastern states where we find the tropical evergreen forest. The next one is the deciduous forest. Deciduous forest. The trees which grow in this forest are teak, sal, deodar, sandalwood, bamboo and ferns also. So these are the different kinds of trees which grow in the deciduous forest. The deciduous forest is such a forest where the trees, they shed their leaves in every autumn. They shed their leaves in every autumn. And we find this deciduous forest in the states of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka, northeastern states and Madhya Pradesh. We find this deciduous forest in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra and northeastern states of India. So children, once we will recap what we have learned today. Okay? So we have learned about the natural resources. What are the natural resources? The resources which are made available by the nature and we use it in our daily lives. And these natural resources are divided into 2 types, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resources are those which can be used repeatedly and replenished by the nature, whereas non-renewable resources are those which get exhausted if we use them repeatedly and takes a long time to form again. So here we have learnt about the minerals. the minerals are the non-renewable resources because it takes so many years to form these minerals. Yes, so they are non-renewable in nature. They are natural resources but non-renewable in nature. And what are the different minerals found in our country, children? Coal, iron, bauxite, copper, gypsum, manganese, chromite, petroleum, gold, natural gas. These are all the minerals which we find in the India. Next, we have learnt about the forest. Forests are a home for the plants which provide us with oxygen and food. And we find this forest in our country in the high altitude regions which receive high rainfall. We find this forest regions in the states of Madhya Pradesh, northeastern states, Karnataka, Maharashtra, yes, and so many states are there. But the largest forest cover is found in the state of Madhya Pradesh. And there are so many other states where we find the forest like Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, northeastern states, Karnataka, and so on. So depending upon the weather conditions, the natural vegetation of India has been categorized into 5 forests. What are those, children? The tropical evergreen forest, deciduous forest, mangrove forest, desert vegetation, and the mountain forest. So in this class we have learned about only 2 forests. The tropical evergreen forest. This tropical evergreen forest we find in the regions which receives heavy rainfall, and the trees in this forest, they grow very tall and they have broad leaves and they are evergreen. They are green throughout the year. Here we find the hardwood trees like mahogany, rosewood, and ebony. Deciduous forest. Deciduous forests are those forests which shed their leaves every autumn, and the examples of these trees are deciduous trees are teak, sal, sandalwood, deodar, fern, and bamboo. We find this deciduous forest in the northeastern states also, and in Tamil Nadu and in some parts of southern India. So children, I hope you have understood the lesson. We will meet in the next class and discuss about the remaining concepts of the same lesson. Thank you.